connected to support, can find resources, and become a part of the More Than Lupus family. My name is Kelly. If you're joining for the first time, or maybe it's been a while, I am the creator and executive director of the Portland-based nonprofit More Than Lupus. And if you're joining for the first time, More Than Lupus is an inclusive community of lupus patients designed to connect, grow, and inspire you throughout the peaks and valleys of your one-of-a-kind lupus journey. So let me just tell you a little bit about myself. As I mentioned, my name is Kelly. I love music. I love dance. I love chocolate. I love design. I love a good book. I love a good conversation. And oh yeah, I have happened to have lived with systemic lupus erythematosus since the age of 11. And I am, happy Monday to you too, Robin. Can everybody hear me and see me okay? I am going to be your facilitator today for this special Lupus Facebook Live support chat, community engagement, gathering, important session that you're going to hear about in just one moment. Now, a few things before we get into our topic today and I introduce our special guest. Living with lupus can be a lot. So we feel that connecting with others and finding belonging is really important if you're living with it. So we have lots of options here at More Than Lupus to get connected to community here, including our More Than Lupus monthly Zoom support group, which meets the third Saturday of the month, which is the 19th, which is this Saturday. It's usually at 1 p.m., which is exactly what time it's going to be this Saturday, and that's Pacific Standard Time. And besides our monthly Zoom, we also have opened it up and have two in-person East Side and West Side support groups meeting back-to-back really this week as well. So we're meeting November 17th, which is Thursday for those of you who can't do weekends, and the 19th, which is Saturday, both at 10 a.m. The West Side meets at Beaverton Christian Church, and the East Side meets at One Hope Fellowship Church, which is in Northeast Portland. We also have this Facebook Live, which is available to you every Monday at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Please feel free to social distance when you come to the in-person events. Wear a mask, whatever makes you the most comfortable. We support your decision and want to make sure everyone stays healthy and safe during this, not just COVID time, but cold and flu season. In addition to the support groups, we also have our private Facebook group called More of More. If you haven't checked it out, guys, this is great. This is a smaller group intended to provide more intimacy, more privacy, more nuanced information, more opportunities to ask questions in a smaller and maybe for you a safer setting. Get it? More of More. So come on, find us. Just type More of More in the Facebook search bar and answer a few guideline questions, and you're in. And we look forward to having you. Guys, I see some people logging in. Please make sure you share this on your personal Facebook page. Today is a very, very special Lupus Facebook Live support chat. So we have also a few fundraising opportunities that I wanted to share with you. I know I've been talking about this, but this is the time. This is the time we need all the help and all the support we can get. First, as you start your holiday shopping, make sure that you are shopping through Amazon Smiles. It's just like normal Amazon. However, with Amazon Smiles, a portion of qualified purchases goes back to the lupus community if you choose the More Than Lupus Foundation as your charity of choice. This is the easiest way, guys, to be able to get all of your shopping needs done. It's the same vast selection, same 2-day shipping, same great prices as Amazon, but a portion of qualified purchases goes back to More Than Lupus every time you shop. It's a wonderful win-win situation. Shop from the comfort of your own home and help the lupus community at the same time. Yes, right? Why not? Come on, do it. Do it. Also, we started our C's Candy Yum Razor. Love that little pun. In the next couple of weeks, it's going to be up. You can still shop before Christmas and for Hanukkah, whatever you're celebrating this time of year, which is a great way to spread some holiday love with some sweet treats and help us out as well. So you will find the link to that in the comments after the chat is done. Also, we have our Dance for a Cause event happening this Saturday in Portland. I will be there. I'm bringing some friends. It's going to be great. We're super excited about that as well. Donations are encouraged. It is a fundraising event, but come and just have some fun with us. More information on all of our social media on our Dance for the Cause event, okay? All right, so today's topic. Today is going to look, this chat's going to feel and look a little bit different because I have invited a very special guest to join me this morning. We were supposed to have this last week, but unfortunately, the weather doesn't really listen to us. And our special guest had electrical issues. She was losing power. It's been a continual issue with this hurricane season. She lives in Florida. So she wasn't able to log in because, yeah, there was like a hurricane. So, that kind of happened. So Jiwa is joining me today. And Jiwa is a friend of mine. She's a lupus advocate. She's a leader in social change that I have had the privilege of working with on many different occasions. In fact, you may recognize her from her work with Lupus Research Alliance, from her Hill Day training sessions that she does with me, and she's done her own, and we've, her Hill Day advocacy work she's done for many years. And Jiwa happens to be Jewish. And I have been feeling this intuitive, persistent pull on my soul to address the hateful comments and derogative comments that have been spewing out lately. We've seen them on the media, we've seen them national news. And I say lately, but sadly, this is a tale as old as time, isn't it? And I thought about pushing, back talking about this because of the craziness with the American College of Rheumatology's National Summit. Then I said, nope. The time is always right to do what is right. And it needs to be talked about. And I don't see anybody talking about it in at least our communities. And it needs to be talked about now. So I'm going to bring Jiwa in here. Hi there, friend. Can you hear me okay?
Hi, how are you?
I am well.
Hear me
okay? Good. So please, everyone, welcome Jiwa Farrell. And Jiwa, will you tell everyone about yourself? You can share your pronouns, the spaces in which you work, and a little bit about your lupus journey as well.
Sure. Thank you so much, Kelly. My name is Jiwa Farrell, and my pronouns are she, her. I live in a place called Lakeland, Florida, in Polk County. We're smack dab in the middle of the state. So if you kind of went north in Orlando on the East Coast and on the West Coast in Tampa, and you drew a line, right in the middle, you get to Polk County. And that's where we currently reside. We've lived here since 2005. I'm from Broward County in South Florida. My journey has been rich with opportunities to learn about diverse communities and what makes those communities special and how we can help one another. I was diagnosed with lupus in 1995. My sister was about a month behind me with my diagnosis and her diagnosis. And around 2002, once my husband and I were told to stop trying to conceive a baby, a child, I found out I was 6 weeks pregnant. And in that time, it was suggested to us that we consider abortion because it was dangerous to me. Because of the antiphospholipid syndrome, all the blood clotting issues, the blood thinners that are necessary. It was dangerous, and I may not survive, and the baby probably would not survive. I said, no, thank you. Appreciate the care, but no, I'll pass. So we went ahead and carried to about 5.5 months along. And I didn't know the questions to ask. We moved up to Polk County for the first time when I was still pregnant. And the first thing the perinatologist, the high-risk OBGYN, said to me was, you come to me now with lupus and pregnant. And my husband and I were like, well, yeah, you're the doctor who's supposed to handle this, aren't you? So we didn't really know what to say. In that time, we moved back to South Florida. I had my 6-month visit, and I found out she was gone. I had little to no support from my medical care team. Nobody really understood the emotional side of it to carry. I realized I didn't know enough to be my own advocate, much less my child's advocate, and my journey changed. It changed the course of everything for me in my life. And I realized I had to speak up. I had to learn everything I could learn about the things that are affecting me and my family and my sister. And through that journey and that dedication, it allowed me to be the advocate for my sister, who in 2014 was diagnosed with stage 4 adenocarcinoma lung cancer along with her lupus. Because her organs were already heavily impacted, her one chemo treatment eventually set her into a cytokine storm. We've heard that term so often lately with COVID and all these things. But in that time frame, my sister, who was deemed as written off in 2014, I told the doctors, I said, that's unacceptable if they didn't have proper care for her. So I went ahead and had her pushed, I should say, advocated strongly to have her moved to another hospital so she could treat at a location who would not consider her a lupus patient in a difficult case. So rather, as my sister Felicia, who was a person, a mother, a daughter, a sister, a friend, a philanthropist, a small business owner, so many things more than just a number, and a lupus patient. And we did this, and she survived another year and 4 months. In 2015, we lose her. But she did have another Mother's Day with our mom. She lived to see her 45th birthday. And her greatest joy, I think, at that time, or one of her joys, was another 4th of July. I'll always remember her face watching the fireworks on July 4th. It was special. It's a memory that I'll hold with me. And throughout that time, I've grown. I've met you and so many wonderful people through LRA. Lupus Research Alliance has been incredible in their support for us as advocates in helping us grow. I feel like we're a generation within LRA growing up and teaching the next generation of advocates, and it's quite the journey. And that's the long story in a long nutshell.
Wow, I appreciate you sharing that with me and with all of the people watching right now who'll be streaming this now and later. I love when you talk about your sister. I always learn something new about her, and I love how you honor her memory by bringing her into the conversation as much and with every opportunity that you can. I think there's such beauty there, and we fight in her honor, and we fight in the honor of everyone that has lost their life prematurely to, I know she had a lot of other complications, but I just really, I really love, it warms my heart every time you bring her up, and just want you to know that I enjoy learning more about her every time you speak. I also want to say I'm so sorry for your loss. I don't think in the time I've known you that I've heard that complete story of what happened with the baby that you lost. And I know that's really hard to open up that type of hurt and talk about it, but you honor that life as well when you do. And so I really appreciate that. I really appreciate that. So I thought we would do just a brief disclaimer before we kind of get into some of the questions that we thought we'd talk about to address some of the issues that have been happening lately. So everyone who's watching right now, uh, listen to this. It's a little bit different than the normal disclaimer that we do here on our Monday Lives. So before we get started, brief disclaimer, the nature of today's conversation may be sensitive to some. We encourage everyone to make space for open discussion while acknowledging the past and present hurt on the Jewish community. We welcome honest and honoring questions. However, any micro and macro aggressions in the comment section will not be tolerated in this space. So it may seem, I want to kind of transition into this. It may seem a little rudimentary, but sadly I feel, and we talked about this via email, that we need to kind of start with the basics here a little bit about defining certain words. I'm sure some people have heard lately in the news and over, I say lately, but it's so hard for me to say lately because this is something that's been happening over and over and over again. But you hear the words anti-Semitic, Semitic, and we just wanted to, I'm just going to read kind of the definitions of those just to make it clear what we're talking about here and how the comments and words and actions bleed into the community and it have historically impacted the community as well. So Semitic is a person containing Semitic character or qualities, a characteristic feature of the Semitic language, a policy or predisposition favorable to the Jewish people. That's what Semitic means. So in opposition, anti-Semitic is defined as hostility to, prejudice towards, or discrimination against Jewish people. An anti-Semitic person who holds such positions it can be called an anti-Semite. So anti-Semitism is considered to be a form of racism. And anti-Semitic acts may include, they could be manifested in many different ways, ranging from expressions of hatred of or discrimination against individual Jewish people to organized attacks or mobs or police forces, individual attacks, smear campaigns, hate signs, militaristic attacks. That is all under the umbrella of anti-Semitic acts towards the community as a whole or towards individuals in the Jewish community. Some of the recent examples, just a few days ago, there was a FBI warning that was a broad threat to every New Jersey synagogue that they had received anti-Semitic threats, saying that every synagogue in New Jersey should be on guard. In August, in Florida, where Jiwa lives, a federal judge who approved the FBI search for former President Donald Trump's Palm Beach County residents was faced with an onslaught of anti-Semitic attacks and threats online. And his synagogue was targeted as well. We could go on and on and on about some of the things that have happened lately with celebrities in the news as well. But it all shows that this trend of anti-Semitic behavior nationwide is on they're actually saying through the Anti-Defamation League that there's a 34% rise from the year before that averages out to more than 7 anti-Semitic incidences per day in our country. So these are just a few of the many examples being pulled from recent news. So Jiwa, I just want to say I'm very sorry for these recent public hateful attacks on Jewish people nationally and locally. In fact, where you reside in Florida, there were, following these anti-Semitic tweets and comments from Ye, which is formerly Kanye West, in Jacksonville, Florida, there has been a wave of rhetoric, including hateful signs posted at football games and freeway overpasses, that said some pretty hateful things. Uh, can you tell us about what you've heard and felt in your community about the anti-Semitic events that you've seen, and how has the community responded to this?
Sure, I could try to speak a little to this. We're in my car and my hair is pulling my hair a little bit, so I'm sorry. Okay. This has been something that, fortunately, I haven't had to deal with until recently, for the most part. Growing up, even in South Florida, in a diverse community, there were the little digs that would say, friends who weren't from a Jewish culture would say things like, "Oh, they sound Jewish," or I don't know how somebody sounds Jewish, but so they sound Jewish, or "Oh, they're Jewish, so they must be good with money." That's usually the classic whole money concept. And as I grew up, I didn't think much of it, but the older I get, of course, with the increasing tension and with the what I feel like was permission for this behavior to come out and come more to the surface in recent years, we see this. I think back to the incident in Orlando, I believe it was around February of this year, where a man was driving along the street, and I believe there were protesters who were Nazis in 2022 in Orlando, pulled the man out of his car and beat him. They were doing the hand and arm motion that I will not do of salute to Adolf Hitler. And I believe this is what occurred in February in Orlando. I was mortified and scared that it was so close to my home, because as I mentioned, we're just a little bit south and west of that area. There were incidents at synagogues, I believe in Tampa as well, which again is just on the other side of us. And moving into my own area in Polk County, shockingly, within 2 organizations that I volunteer, there have been micro, some may say macro, aggressions of anti-Semitism and anti-Jewish words thrown at me directly. In one organization, I hopped on a Zoom call for a board meeting, and one person said to the other person, "Hey, so-and-so, what was that Jewish joke you were telling me the other day?" Not realizing I was on the call. And I said, "Yeah, so-and-so, please tell us, what was that Jewish joke?" And to say that these 2 people were stunned and they were not quite sure how to respond would be an understatement. After this, within another organization that I'm currently heavily involved, I'm not sure for how much longer, someone in leadership in this particular major organization within Polk said something to the effect of, well, if you were legislating in an area and you were legislating people who weren't Jewish, would you be able to legislate fairly those who weren't Jewish? This question came about from this leader in this organization because we were having a meeting evaluating candidates for a certain position. And I had questioned a title that a particular candidate chose to have in front of their name. And if I've never seen that particular title before, I would call it equivalent to maybe Reverend, as in Reverend Warnock. And I would say that it was well within reason to ask how this person would legislate if this was an important thing for them to have in front of their name. I don't have any issue if you want to identify yourself with a particular title. What I do care about is if you are planning on legislating in a particular area, will you legislate first for everybody who may or may not share your belief system? Or will your belief system first guide how you legislate that may put others who don't have that same belief system in the category of other as you're legislating them? So again, this question was said to me, was asked to me by one of the leaders of this particular.
Well, hold on. Looks like we temporarily lost her. She might be going through she's actually in a car because she is driving to an important appointment. So we are working with her as she is on the move. And hopefully she's going to be... Here we go. Got her back. There you go.
Back. Okay. Okay. Sorry about that. We're good?
Yes, we're good. There we go. It's being a little bit. So
okay.
Just lost you for a few seconds. No problem.
Okay, great. Good. Sorry about that. So basically, it was suggested that because I was in my role questioning a particular candidate's title that they chose to have, I was doing my job. I was doing my role of what I was supposed to do. Scrutinize and try to fairly understand candidates if in fact this particular entity that I was tasked with representing properly and responsibly, would they fairly represent their community? That became a big issue, and an apology was never made. I felt something in my gut when that was said. I muted myself. I took myself off camera. I was holding back tears. Called my mom and asked her, "Is what I think happened? Is this what happened? What I think happened?" And my mom simply said, "Yes, honey, I'm afraid so. Dry your tears. Finish your call, and we'll talk about this later." Get back on their call, and I did. And we did. Talked later. Subsequently, several of us left this particular organization. I was still a part of this. I was still a part of the overall group of this organization by way of running a few groups that speak to the Jewish community and spoke to the disability community. This is what we do around here.
Right.
And so, well, I still had to deal with the particular person who throw that trope, that micro or macro, implicit or not so implicit bias towards me. Nobody said a word in that meeting, by the way. Moving forward, there was I was asked to be, again, in 2022, I was asked to be a member of the same campaign committee by a fellow, I'm using this term just for the purpose of this conversation, by a fellow Jew, a Jewish person, and several of us were on this committee. The same individual who I mentioned earlier had said to another member of this committee who was also in leadership, when she was referencing the members of this committee, I don't know if so and so is Jewish, but there are a lot of Jewish people on this committee. They are trying to co-opt it, and I won't allow it. Those were the words spoken by a leader in a major organization here in Polk County. We immediately resigned. Well, not immediately. We discussed once we were told this is what happened from the person to who was told. We resigned, and we urged state leadership to do something about county leadership.
Yeah.
State leadership refused in this particular organization. So we're not just dealing with an issue in Polk County.
Right.
We're dealing with an issue statewide.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how you fight that other than speaking out and telling my truth.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the things that I've experienced and how these things have not been handled. And not for lack of trying.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, there's a line in the Lord of the Rings where Tolkien says, or he writes, I should say, always after a defeat and respite, evil takes another shape and grows again. And I have chills when I read that, because we have seen in history these waves of anti-Semitic movements. And how do you feel the recent political climate and this normalization of extremism has perpetuated this growth of hatred towards Jewish people?
First, I continue to strive to understand it.
Mm-hmm.
As a patient advocate, we fight to help people.
Mm-hmm.
We fight to learn more how to help people. We don't differentiate between culture, religion. The only differentiation that happens is for research purposes, because we know how lupus disproportionately affects certain groups of people.
Right.
And that's how we differentiate, and that's why, to help people for no other reason. This calling out, or these jokes that aren't funny, these tropes, these little stabs, these little digs, they are the things that we saw. We've seen this already. This is how you build a momentum to create a society to other a community. And when you other a community, you make it easier and easier to other the community a little more.
Okay, let's just pause for one moment. I think she's having some technical difficulties, but she always comes back. There we go. There she is. Perfect. Got you back. You're back.
Okay, good. We're going to get this message out there.
We sure are. We're not going to stop. We're not going to stop.
But so to conclude with what I was saying in regard to this, it perpetuates and it makes it easier and easier, and it is scary, and it certainly has exacerbated my lupus. And I know that my mom, who also has lupus, is her health, is not great, and the issues that arose from the things that we've just talked about have created a hostile environment, an organizational culture that is not accepting, but is not only not accepting, but has allowed groupthink that has allowed groupthink to say, "Oh, it's okay. We can treat these people in a certain way, and it's okay because they don't agree with us." So because we feel that this person ought to not be in leadership, but others are okay with it, which is sometimes a little worse because you may not say the things, you may not say these microaggressions or these anti-Semitic words or tropes, but you're okay with it.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure which is worse, and maybe others have stronger opinions about that than I do, but I'm not sure what is worse. You're okay with it, but it's made it hard to lead this community.
Yeah. Yeah. I think those that are silent, I mean, not making a statement is your statement. And it's interesting when things like this continually come up, who's not talking about it? And to me, it's heartbreaking because justice takes sides. Justice takes sides. And
Yes.
to not recognize innate human dignity in all and to normalize anti-Semitism and extremism in our country under the banner of nationalism and whatever else you want to call it is simply not okay. And now we have, celebrities with massive platforms who are going on to social media and making egregious anti-Semitic statements. And, I won't even go there with the stuff that Kanye West said and, the ball player who posted about the anti-Semitic movie and all of these things that we know have happened. But I would like you to have the opportunity to. I know we're a much, much, much smaller platform than Kanye West and everybody else out there who's posting, but I believe in giving you space to respond. So, what would you say? What would you say to Kanye and Kyrie Irving and all the extremists if you had the opportunity? You're given the opportunity now to just. Yeah, would you say? What would you want to say?
Did you ask me?
Just curious if
I'm sorry.
given.
Did you? Oh, Kelly, I'm listening.
If you can hear me, I just want to give you the opportunity to respond
I
to
can
this.
hear you.
Yes, to the celebrities who have posted these things on their massive platforms. I know we're a much smaller platform, but how would you respond now with our small
Sure.
platform?
I would say that my mom's an attorney,
Mm,
and my mom has taught me for the entirety of my life, I should say, that we have our First Amendment, and
mm-hmm,
people do have a right to say certain things,
mm-hmm,
even if we don't agree with them, and even if they are hurtful to the core, they still have a right to say them. And while that's true, I have a right not to purchase any more music from Kanye, now Ye. I have a right not to do anything that would monetarily promote Kyrie Irving.
mm-hmm,
Um, I have a right to those things, just as they have a right to what they have to say or
mm-hmm.
feel. I would say that people who are in certain leadership roles also have the same right to say these things. However, if you represent a community that is supposed to be inclusive of all,
Yeah.
while you have a right to say those things, you do not have a right to sit in that chair of
Mm.
leadership, and ought to be removed, and you ought to be sanctioned. To my friends who had once supported me and my mom and others in our Jewish community, we had strong allies who were not Jewish. They were allies with us. For some reason, they backed away. And I'm still not entirely sure why. And maybe I missed communication. That is my fault. I don't know. I do miss my friends, but I wonder why those people have backed away, why those friends of mine have backed away. And never answered the poll. They just thought there was more opportunity for upward movement in the organization, or it just wasn't worth it anymore. But I do thank them for the time that they stood with us. And I don't know how else to speak to this other than head on.
Yeah. And as we kind of wrap up this discussion, I'm just wondering, for those that are watching this now, those who will stream this later, how can people come alongside and support the Jewish community?
Well, it could be something as simple as, if you hear a slur, ask somebody, why would you say that? You know what this means when you say that. Even the smallest aggression, microaggression, can lead to something worse. It's not okay. It's never okay. And the words anti-Semitism is wrong all the time.
Yes.
It has to be what we live by. Not only that, any ism is not acceptable. It's not acceptable. When we fight for one, we fight for all. There's a quote my mom has started using. The only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good people to do nothing.
Yeah.
So to stand by us. I'm your friend. I have your back. This person said that, I corrected it, or I saw a comment and I responded that wasn't the way to do, or educate. Sometimes we pick somebody from a different culture and we may not know something is wrong. And that's okay too, because we learn sometimes by making mistakes. Re-educate. There are multiple ways, but those are some ways, and just be kind.
Yeah. As you're talking, I was thinking about, gosh, isn't it always the case that the disability community does all the heavy lifting? Like, everything is placed on the disability community, right? And then
yes,
the minority communities, all the heavy lifting is placed, and then it's just like social and economical, and then it's just like, why is it all the heavy lifting is placed on people that it should not be placed on? And just like what you said, it's not okay, and it never was okay. And I think that's a great kind of conclusion to this. It's not okay, and it never was okay. And that's why we have to continue to talk about it. And I just want to say I appreciate you so much, because I know all that you do to advocate in so many different ways for the lupus community, the disability community, the Jewish community, and things that are happening on the county level, the city level, the state level, where you live.
Yep.
You don't just talk the talk. You are out there, and you are doing what needs to be done to perpetuate change. And I'm so grateful for you. I'm so grateful that we have the opportunity to connect in so many ways, and for your candor today. And I hope a lot of people watch this and watch this again, to just learn,
Yeah. I'm so grateful to you, Kelly. Thank you for your kindness. Thank you so much.
It's not, I mean, it's my pleasure. It's really my pleasure to connect with you. And I just want to say thank you for joining us for today's discussion. Hope that though the information may have been a little hard to hear at times, we hope that it leads to healing as we continue to walk towards a future where human dignity and respect is shown to all. And Jiwa, I know you're heading to an important appointment, so if you need to go, I just want to say thank you again for your time, and I know I'll be seeing you soon in some capacity. So thank you again, and I'm just going to close up with a little bit of information, but I know that you are on the road, so I want to be respectful of your time.
Thank you very much, Kelly. Thank you for your time. I appreciate you.
My pleasure. I'll see you soon.
And bye to the More Than Lupus community. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Oh, I love her so much. I just really wanted to spend some time talking about that, and I can take that banner off now. But and honestly, we could have gone on and on about that, but I think this is just the beginning of conversations that we're going to be having. Where it's sad, but this is what we need to be talking about. We need to bring it out of the shadows and actually address it, because I don't really see anybody else talking about it. So, but I did want to say, though, you may have noticed that we did not do a Facebook Lupus Live quote in the beginning, but I decided that I wanted to leave it to the end and close out our session with it today. Also, I want to let you know that we will be debriefing about what has been going on for the last several days at the American College of Rheumatology, the global summit that's been happening in Philadelphia, where I've had, it's been virtual and in person. So we've got people out there at the More Than Lupus booth that have been working really hard and attending sessions, and I've got sessions and I've got information, and it's just been like a frenzy of tweeting and information coming at you from every way. So there's a lot that we're going to be talking about. So stay tuned for updates on that. I've got so much to share with you. Just a few things that I'm really excited to talk about. There was a huge hubbub about fibromyalgia and whether or not it is now going to be classified as an autoimmune disease. Yes. Yeah. Not a neurological condition. So that's a big thing. There was obviously updates on COVID, medication requirements, alterations, what are the latest data on COVID, and on immunosuppressed patients. That was a big one. Another thing was, with the reversal of Roe v. Wade, how is that impacting how rheumatologists are able to treat their patients, with some of the medications that have been flagged. There was a lot of diversity, inclusion, equity talk, so much information about some new treatments and different data on some of the biologic therapies. Just a lot of information to share with you guys. So come back. I'll let you know. Oh my gosh, these pop-ups. So sorry. We're going to let you know when and where to join us, but I'm going to be debriefing with all the gals that have been at the booth, smiling and taking pictures and meeting people, collecting contacts. Anyway, so really, really great information that will be coming your way this week. So stay tuned for updates on that. So much to share with you. And then, okay, so let's go ahead and close out with our Lupus Facebook Live support chat quote. And this is from Anne Frank. I've been quoting her a lot lately. I don't know, just been really inspired by her. And she said this: in spite of everything, I still believe that people are really good at heart. I simply can't build up my hopes on a foundation consisting of confusion, misery and death. I see the world gradually being turned into a wilderness. I hear the ever-approaching thunder, which will destroy us too. I can feel the sufferings of millions. And yet, if I look up into the heavens, I think that it will all come right, that this cruelty too will end, and the peace and tranquility will return again. And that's by Anne Frank. So I just want to close by saying thank you for joining us for this time. If you're just joining now, please go back and watch it from the beginning and hear what Jiwa had to say and learn from listening and hopefully growing in our grace and acceptance of humanity. And whatever you're going through today, remember that things are never as bad as they seem. And if you think your life is not worth living, you can't see past the pain of today, remember tomorrow is there. Tomorrow is a bright light, a new start, a new chapter. Yesterday will soon be dust, and you have got this. You are so much more than your pain. You are so much more than the comments people might have said to you. You are so much more than your joint issues or your kidney nephritis. You're so much more than your skin involvement, your mylar rash. You're so much more than your hair loss. You're so much more than your prednisone weight gain. You're so much more than your neurological complications and your brain fog. You're so much more than your cardiac issues and your eye issues and your dry mouth and your cold hands and your cold feet. You're so much more than lupus. So if you feel like you are at the end of your rope today, tie a knot and hang on, because you've got this and you are not alone. You belong here with us, and we've all been there before, and we get it. We get it. Okay, guys? So have a great rest of your week. I'll be back with you. I got to go rush off to parent-teacher conferences for my son, and I've got more American College of Rheumatology stuff happening today. It's a crazy doozy of a day, but I'm so thankful for this sacred time that you shared with us today, and thankful for you, my family, my lupus family, and I hope to see you soon. Okay? So bye, guys, for now.